Are you a new immigrant in Canada, or you are someone that has just received their permanent residence visa and are getting set to come to Canada? If this fits your profile, please make sure you watch this video as I'll be sharing with you tips that can help you to get a good job in Canada as a newcomer. Hi guys, welcome to Newcomers Diary. My name is Michael. Today I'll be sharing with you 5 tips that will help you to secure a job as a newcomer in Canada. Please watch this video till the end. Thank you. Number 1, split your work experience into job duties and target such jobs. When you're coming to Canada, you realize that whatever your work experience was from back home, wherever you're from, I'll be talking a lot about work experience in Nigeria, but I can assure you, you'll be able to apply it to wherever country you're watching this from. In Canada, you'll realize that they have very specific job roles, right? Unlike back home in Nigeria, you'd see that one person might be combining different types of job roles, right? For example, back home, I was working in a bank as a personal banker, but I realized that my job back then actually encompassed a whole lot of other duties. For example, I did what we would call financial sales representative, right? I also did a lot of KYC and documentation and all that. So I did some sort of KYC compliance duties. I also did a lot of anti-money laundering, compliance duties. I also did customer service duties. So when I came to Canada, all I did was to split that's my work experience into these different job duties, and I targeted job openings that are related to these different job duties. By so doing, I had expanded my reach. So I can apply to financial sales representative jobs. I can apply to AML compliance jobs. I can apply to KYC compliance jobs. I can apply to customer service jobs. So my first point, split your experience into job duties and target those jobs. Just look at your work experience, and apply this method. Look into what you were doing from back home and split them and see some other job duties that you will be able to apply to. If you are going to take away just one thing from this video, make sure that that is one thing you take away. Second thing is that get a Canadian number. As new immigrants right now, I know that a lot of people already have their PR, their permanent resident visas with them, but they do not want to come to Canada without getting a job. And I really understand why you want to do that, considering the cost of living and all that. So if you are outside of Canada and you're looking for a job in Canada, and you already have your permanent residence visa and all that, you need to get a Canadian number. Get a Canadian number so that when you are applying to jobs, you would be able to provide that number and recruiters will be able to reach you on the number. I understand that for you to get a virtual Canadian number, most of these numbers are not free. You would have to pay for them. But then, if you know that you're coming to Canada soon and you're sure you'll be here and you're looking for a job, it's definitely worth it. It's going to be a very good investment, that you should be able to take. The third tip I would like to give you is to update your location. So, say you already have your PR or you've already landed. Make sure that your location on your resume and on LinkedIn are showing are reflecting a Canadian location. So if you already know that you're going to be landing in Ontario, or you're going to be landing in Winnipeg, or you're going to be landing in Saskatchewan, or anywhere for that matter, make sure that you update your location on your resume and on your LinkedIn profile. And you do not really need a specific permanent address to be able to update your location. All you need is a zip code of the area that you have in mind. And once you put in your zip code on LinkedIn, you'll be able to, show that you are at that location. Yes, I know it sounds like you're lying, but no, you're not lying. If you know that you're going to be settling in Winnipeg, it's just right for you to update your LinkedIn profile or update your resume to reflect that, so that when recruiters see your profile, or when recruiters are handling your resume, they would know that you are in this area and they can actually work with you. My fourth point is that you should update your resume to the Canadian style. Now, I know you probably have heard this before. Oh, the Canadian resume style, the Canadian resume, and all that. And you're wondering, what is a Canadian resume? I'm going to put up a sample here, but basically, the Canadian resume style emphasizes more on your experience and your skills. That's just it. The Canadian style resume lays more emphasis on the skills that you have and the experience that you have, the work experience. They do not really care. Companies, or say recruiters, do not care much about your education or about your number of degrees that you have. What is more important is the skill set and the work experience. They want to see that you've done this job before. They want to see that this is what you can do. Also, the Canadian style resume emphasizes on numbers, on what you've achieved, on achievements. And of course, achievements will be shown from your work experience. So when you're listing out your work experience, you're talking about what you've achieved on those jobs. What you can do on the specific to those jobs. So that's the Canadian style. Of course, depending on where you're where you're from, I know that some places you'd have to include your nationality, your local government of origin, and all that. But in Canada, no one cares about all that. What we just want to see is your skills and your work experience. So update your Canadian resume. So update your resume to Canadian style. Tip number 5 is develop your skills. Now, I know that a lot of us see migrating to Canada as a fresh start. For example, myself, when I was coming to Canada, I was thinking, yes, this is a fresh start. A fresh start. Canada is going to give me an opportunity to, pivot my career, do something new. Maybe I move to tech. So you realize that in Canada, for you to really move up high, for you to earn well, for you to really, achieve those dreams of yours, you're going to need to develop your skills. You're going to need to learn new things. So one major thing that you can never go wrong with is to acquire skills that are relevant and skills that are in demand. Do your research and learn about skills that are in demand or relevant in your field or in your industry, and learn them. Because just like I mentioned when I was talking about the Canadian resume, recruiters want to see the skills that you're bringing to the table. And if you're learning something new, if you've learned a new skill, if you've learned how to do something differently, that would show on your resume, and you'll be hot cake, so to say. So develop or sharpen your skills. And how can you do this? Okay, as a new immigrant, you're probably busy looking for money. You're probably spending up your proof of fund and all that. How can you do it? There are settlement services. Make use of these settlement services. A lot of them will even help you. They will train you and help you to learn new stuff that you can actually live on, that you can actually use to pivot your career in Canada. Now, I have bonus tips, and you'd find that these bonus tips actually are in line with the previous 5 tips that I already mentioned. But continue watching. Change your mindset. Look, as a new immigrant in Canada, you need to change your mindset. You need to just adjust to the Canadian way. You need to understand how the Canadian system works. For example, you'll find that a lot of jobs in Canada are based on referrals. So if you were coming with the mindset of, oh, I'll just keep applying to jobs, I'll keep applying to jobs and I'll get it, you need to change that, because in Canada they rely so much on referrals. So jobs that you see online, you'd be surprised to learn that someone would just be referred to that company and they're going to get the job, while you're just online, just shooting out your resume. The second job I got in Canada, which I actually currently still do, I got it by referral. If someone just spoke to me about the job, and I was like, oh, I think you're going to be able to do this. This is what, and he got my resume and sent it in. I interviewed with them and I got the job. So the Canadian work, or say the Canadian work culture, depends heavily on referrals. So don't sleep on it. And how can you get these referrals? By connecting with people. When you before you land in Canada, start connecting with people. Speak to people. When you've landed, connect with them. Go on LinkedIn now. I know I've said go on LinkedIn and connect with people, but you need to know how to connect with people on LinkedIn. One major tip I would give on how to connect with people on LinkedIn is that you should always find a common ground. Don't just go on LinkedIn and chat someone up and just tell them, oh, you need a job, you need a referral. No, it doesn't work that way. You need to find a common ground. You need to build some rapport with the person, and so that they don't think you're just coming to ask for help. What's the in it for them? You need to kind of build rapport. What I personally do is that I go on LinkedIn, search for a job, and I search for someone that has gone to the same university as me in that company. So I went to University of Ibadan, and any company I look at and I can see someone that also attended the University of Ibadan, or the other university I attended, OAU, what I would do is to chat them up and greet them the way we used to greet, in the university. I'll just, oh, greatest UI, great Ife, and build rapport. Let them know that, oh, look, I also attended the university, the same one you attended, and this is my experience. I can see that you work in this company. I just want to know how are you finding it? How is it? I won't come up to them and say, oh, give me this, or oh, help me with this. No, I would first want to learn how they're doing. Most times you get a response. Yeah, most times they will reply you, and that's how to do it, right? And that's that on LinkedIn. Another thing I want to say about changing your mindset is the fact that you need to understand the industry that you are in. If the type of industry is the type that requires a lot of certification, if it's a regulated industry, you have to know that you're going to do a lot of work, right? They would not just allow you to enter. Say you're a medical doctor or a nurse, or, you already know that there will be hurdles that you need to cross, and just do it. I know it's very tough, but yeah, it is what it is. Another point I would like to make is that when you're a newcomer in Canada, don't feel bad if you have to start all over. Be willing to start over. Just like I mentioned, I know that a lot of us see coming to Canada as an opportunity to, start over. So be willing to start over. Be willing to start afresh. And as a matter of fact, a lot of immigrants come to Canada, with the mindset that they would get a good job, they would get something, at the same level as what they had from their home country, but they get the root shock of, the fact that they are unable to get that exact level of job. You would find that most times you'd have to go a step or two steps or three steps lower, Say you're a manager from your home country, you probably have to start from an entry level role, or maybe if you're in middle management, you probably start from uh, maybe a junior manager. I don't know if that's a thing, and there's no shame in it. There's definitely no shame in it. Why do you have to do this? Because it helps you to understand the Canadian culture, the Canadian work culture. It helps you, and before you know it, if you are really good, and if you are really skilled, you're going to climb the ladder very fast, and by the time you've done one job, you have 1 year experience there or 2 years experience there. You'll be surprised at the pace by which you're going to go higher and climb the career ladder back. Another thing about mindset is that as newcomers, you realize that you're probably going to need to get a survivor job. Yes, we call it survivor job, and that is just what it is. Just for you to survive those few months or those few years, those few initial years, right? And why should you do a survivor job? One, of course, to survive, right? And two, to gain Canadian experience. You realize that a lot of recruiters will be looking out for Canadian experience. Once they realize that you do not have any experience within Canada, and someone who has experience within Canada has applied to the same role, of course, they will go with that person. So, if you are new in Canada and you're unable to get that's your choice, that kind of job that you're looking for, why not look lower? Why not look for a survivor job? Do the survivor job, to gain Canadian experience. And with that Canadian experience, you'll be able to use it to get your desired job. That's how to break into the Canadian work environment. And what are the common apps for job search in Canada? The best of them is Indeed. Yeah, Indeed. It's I just love Indeed because it kind of aggregates jobs. I think it scrapes the internet and aggregates jobs in the same place. And I like the fact that it helps you to actually be able to use the same profile. You can easily it's just easier to use. Yeah, Indeed, LinkedIn, Monster. Of course, career pages of top companies, banks, manufacturing firms, and all that. And yeah, I also make use of Chat GPT, while applying. It helps use AI, right? Yeah, I think also resume building websites and job scan, such platforms. I hope you've been able to learn one or two things from this video. If you're someone that has work experience in the financial services in the bank from back home in Nigeria or wherever, whichever African country, and you kind of need some guidance as to how to navigate and split your work experience into different job duties, you can reach out to me. I'm going to have a link um, in the description box for which you can actually book a 20 minutes session with me, and I'll be glad to talk to you and see how I can advise you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.